Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up. Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to part 6 of What If Deku Had Hanma DNA. Last time we left off... before we get into that... I'll do it in the next video. Last time we left off, Deku absolutely battered Monoma because he was trying to prove a point and lay hands on Deku, which Deku wasn't having. Then after this, he pummeled Monoma into the ground, chucked him out of a window, body slammed him. And then after being pulled off by all the teachers, Aizawa realising his quirk is basically useless on Deku. Deku got no charge to press against Deku. And that was because everyone, as a witness, not only out of fear, out of truth, said Monoma started it, he assaulted Deku. So Monoma was healed, given a bit of PTSD from Deku. And the UA Sports Festival begins. It starts with Midnight announcing that the first race the first festival event will be a race with Class 1A and 1B included. And the winner will win the most amount of points. And whoever gets the most amount of points at the end of the festival wins the UA Sports Festival. Everyone is pumped up. And every single person there says, I'm going to win. But except for Todoroki and Bakugo, everyone else had and Kirishima included, everyone else had a slight thought in the back of their mind. Deku's probably going to win. But Midnight says begin. And Deku starts running. He's not going to go over the top against everyone straight away, but he's making sure he's in the lead. And the speed he's running, he's thinking people think he has a speed quirk. And when they just see that his quirk is physical enhancements, they're thinking, oh, makes a bit of sense. As it just said Hanma as his quirk, and in brackets physical enhancement. But closely behind him was Todoroki, and Bakugo, who's now using its explosion, was about to overtake him. But Deku jumped up onto Bakugo's back and bounced off him. As he's flying through the air, this jump was powerful. This is about a 40% one for all jump. So he's flying in the air and everyone's impressed. And Deku sees the robots. Using his muscles as a propulsion, he's tightening and loosening them, making a small shockwave. He's done this before. Flying down towards the robots, catching everyone off guard. Why not just skip the robots? Deku comes in with a flying punch going straight through one of the robots' chests. These were all the 0-pointers that Deku easily destroyed. Now he's going to show what he can really do if he don't hold back. Everyone is insanely impressed that Deku just breezing through every single robot. These were meant to be ones. This was just meant to show every single person's growth. But it just shows that Deku doesn't need any growth. He was always this strong. Deku had about now destroyed 5 robots, leaving their corpse to block other people's way, and he decides it's enough playing around. 3 robots block his way, and he enters a stance, punching at a speed that no one could really keep up with, sending a massive shockwave of wind, destroying 3 robots, and he carries on. This gives him about a 30-second gap between him, Bakugo, and Todoroki. And he gets to the He gets to the massive area where you need to either balance across or using your quirk to zoom across. He gets there and everyone says, how Zuko Hanma get across these massive gaps? Deku stops for a second, looking behind him, and he yells, hurry up, Bakugo and Todoroki, I'm getting bored. He waits 10 seconds till he can see them, and the entire audience is clapping their hands, screaming. Zuko Hanma has thrown a declaration of war against his 2 classmates. Let's see how this one will end. Deku perfectly, with zero problem at all, sprints across this rope, balancing perfectly, and everyone said, wow, what amazing balance. And Deku, hearing this, realises he needs to show off to get an apprenticeship with whoever he wants. He bounces off this rope, easily jumping across insane distances. He's halfway across, And that's when Bakugo and Todoroki finally get onto the rope. Bakugo flying across and Todoroki attempts to freeze it. So Deku jumps off the rope, jumping across the rest of it. Everyone's going crazy. Bakugo and Todoroki... Deku stopped again till Bakugo and Todoroki just got behind him and he starts running. They start screaming. Well, Todoroki doesn't scream. He says, "Izuku Midoriya, you're going to regret this." I mean, Izuku Hanma. And Bakugo just goes, "Deku, you bloody bastard, taking pity on me. I put you on silent." There we go. And Deku says, "Really now? I'm going to regret this." Deku stamps on the ground. The ground beneath him shatters, and a shockwave appears behind him as it blows Bakugo and Todoroki backwards. And Deku, in mere seconds, goes across the minefield, blowing up 20% of the bombs, but being too quick for them to catch him. And he appears at the end goal. Everyone around him that was watching this even goes dead silent. What speed? And they all assume that this means Deku's main physical enhancement was his speed. They didn't even think about his strength. But then they all remember him taking on the 0-point robots. The same thought appears in everyone's mind. He's the next All Might. Bakugo and Todoroki finished in tied. So they both get the same amount of points. And then the rest of the placements are the same. Deku, of course, wins with the 10 million point mark. And then when the second event is announced, everyone's plan was blah blah blah, stay away from Deku, but Bakugo, for once, he knows, I'm not going to win if I go against Deku in this. Todoroki does the same. And then Uraka comes over. The team for this one is Bakugo, Todoroki, Deku, and Uraka. They put Deku on the top, as instead of Bakugo, no matter how much Bakugo fought for it, they realised that Uraka could make them weightless. Bakugo can make them, due to their weightlessness, Bakugo could easily make them fly up in the air. And then if Todoroki makes them slide around, they'll move at insane speeds. And then no one's going to be able to get the headband of Deku. This is the best team possible. Even if you put I forgot his name, 1 second. Tokoyami on the team, it wouldn't get any better. So just imagine what the other teams will be. Actually, I'm gonna make it as I go. So it begins. Todoroki, we can see cold breeze coming out of Todoroki's hand as he's preparing to get away. Deku's just meditating. Uraka makes them all weightless, and Bakugo using explosions. They're speeding about. No one can even keep up with them. They just look like little blurs. And Deku opens his eyes. Finally, someone's attempting it. The team of Kirishima, Kaminari, Jiro, and Zero attempt to attack them. With Kaminari being on top, he sends electricity at them. Deku puts his finger outwards, absorbing the electricity through this finger and shooting it out the other, Avatar style. This just catches him off guard, and Deku says, "So this is what he meant by absorbing electricity. I can do it as well." Deku can feel his black lightning powered up, but he isn't going to make a point out of this. Kaminari jumps in the air, and Kirishima leaves the 4 hold and jumps up with him, launching him up even higher. That gives them about 5 seconds before Kaminari lands and they need to catch him. Kirishima hardens and flies towards Deku. Deku throws a punch countering it. He actually cracks Kirishima's hardening and chucks him to the ground. Kirishima, not realising he doesn't have enough time to attack again, sprints and catches Kaminari just in time so they don't lose by hitting the ground. They think that was enough, but Jiro sends her headphone plugs into the ground, causing it to crack. But Todoroki just freezes all the cracks and the ice is all up. That's when the team, Momo, Mineta, Ida, and Soji. Soji appear. And Mineta throws his balls to cause him to stick down, but every single one that hits Deku just rips it off and he heals. This still freaks Mineta out. How can he deal with it? His layer of skin getting ripped off without even showing any reaction. This does annoy Deku though, so he gets out of his meditation form and stands. Uraka makes him somewhat not fully weightless, and he gets in a running position and dives. Mineta was the one on top with Shoji hiding him. And he dives towards them and he boots Shoji, which actually he can feel his wings or his arms a lot more sturdy than he thought. But it still causing pain and he winces, and that small wince, Deku manages to fit 2 fingers through and force his hand through, nailing Mineta in the stomach, causing him to pass out. But he's not out yet. He then bounces off Shoji's wings and lands back on his group. The entire audience was crazy. What amazing technique! What amazing skill and accuracy! And then they're put out of commission for a little while. This continues happening, and they begin using the other fault. Todoroki freezes the ground beneath him while Bakugo uses explosions. Their speed increases by 5-fold, and no one can even see them anymore. They can just see the ice troll appearing everywhere, till eventually the entire ground is ice. That's when Ida says it's my time to shine. Mineta's woke up and he's come out of the seal. And he goes, whatever it is, I'm not just going to call it Nitro, but a Cicero burst. And he speeds towards Deku. Deku, easily being able to keep up with this reaction time, is impressed. And he blocks Ida's arm and chucks him in the air and slams him into the ground. His team then His team then loses their balance and Mineta falls, not before Deku rips off his headband. Everyone seeing this is thrown off guard. His reaction speed is insane. And that's when it happens. In a blitz, Deku pulls his hand in the air and chucks him behind him at full force, causing a shockwave. Using Todoroki and Bakugo to turn, they use his enhanced speed to blitz around everyone, stealing every single person's headband in a matter of seconds. And all my Midnight stutters and says, but Izuku Hanma's team wins! Stealing every single headband. This is unprecedented. Never in UA history has this happened. And they play it in slow-mo. The teams who have every single person who got their headband stolen, the last few people, were the one who progressed in the next round. And of course, we now go to the fights. The first one is Shino versus Deku. And Deku, without any even warning, he even gets warning from Ojiro, but he ignores it. And he goes, by the way, Shino, I know what your quirk is, but it's no fun if I hide away from it. Go on and ask me a question. Shino says, so you know what my quirk is? Deku says yes. Deku instantly gets put in mind control. Shino says, if you really knew what it was, then why would you let me use it? Class 1A is way too cocky. And he rushes at Deku. Just because how cocky he is, it's pissed him off, and he throws a punch. Deku's natural reflexes kick in and he dodges and boots Shino in the stomach. Shino's like, what? Impossible. But he's like, turn around. Deku turns around, march out of the arena. Deku starts marching out. He's like, so he just has a natural defense, so I just don't need to attack him and I win. Deku gets towards the end line, and he can finally break through the mind control. He screams out in his mind, stop! He's in an empty room, and he's looking around. That's when he sees it. Shadowy figures all come towards him, and they say, so you're the next successor, but you're All For One's son. Well, I guess you do try to be a hero, and you are definitely one of the strong successors we've had. And one of them, who had this weird tentacle ability, places his hand out onto Deku's face. Deku feels the energy course through him, and he breaks out of the mind control. Uncontrollably, Black Whip shoots out of his hand towards Shino. This catches everyone off guard, and Deku quickly sucks it back in. He hears one of the people he just saw say, "We already have perfect control over your emotions. Incredible." Everyone seeing this, Deku just laughs it off, saying, "That ain't your business." And Deku and Shino immediately rushes towards Deku, giving him a whole speech about, your quirk is so amazing, this and that. And this pisses him off, and Deku backhands him and grabs him by his throat and slams him. And he says to Shino, I wasn't always this strong. How about you use your mind control on me one more time? Of course he does it, and Deku forces his memory into Shino. Shino can just see that Deku's relentless training, and Deku yet again breaks out of the mind control. Shino loses all his grudge against Deku and says, "I see. You trained for your power. I apologize." And Deku picks him up and chucks him across the arena out of bounds. The fight ends. The rest of the fights go normal, but everyone's questioning Deku about his quirk, and this finally pisses Deku off to the point he says, "Mind your own fucking business. If I don't want to tell you about my quirk, you don't get to know." Class 1A immediately realizes that they were being a bit annoying. Deku immediately says Deku immediately said when they first asked him, "It ain't your business," and they kept on asking. They try to apologise to Deku, but he just says, "Piss off already, I said no how many times?" Deku actually is annoyed, as if he wants to hide his own strength, he can hide it. Martial artists shouldn't be forced to show off their abilities, and his classmates were just trying to force him to show off his own. One sec guys, ASMR. Oh, that's banging. It's red Fanta this time, by the way, guys, if you're wondering. While Deku's walking in the corridor, getting ready for his next fight against Todoroki, Endeavor stops in, and he says, "So you're the Roman next All Might? Well, my Choto's going to be the one to destroy All Might, so he's going to destroy you as well. So stay out of his way. And I suggest you just lose first time." Like, you lose on purpose. Deku switches against him, and he says, "So, because you don't have faith in your son to beat me, you're asking me to lose the fight on purpose? That's not what you'd expect from the number 2 hero. Well, I guess you're number 2 for a reason then." Endeavor's flame explodes and says, "You brat." He immediately freezes when he sees Deku stare. It's like there's a dragon staring directly at him. And I just remembered about Deku's training arc. Oops. But he quickly snaps out of this. He's the number 2 hero for a reason. And Deku's storming towards him saying, "Shoto Todoroki, yes, he's your son, but he's not you. If he wants to be the next number 1 hero, he has to go through me first. But he's not going to follow your design, your rules, and I can see why you use it part of his quirk. But I think I understand why his ice is orange. No matter how much he tries, he cannot escape your quirk. Its rage infuses it that much. It's embedded in part of his ice." Endeavor throws a punch at Deku, trying to knock him out. No matter how much Endeavor doesn't want to admit it, he doesn't have faith 100% guarantee that Shoto can beat Deku. Deku eats this punch, and he starts filming it. Endeavor immediately tries to burn his phone, and Deku moves out of the way and punches Endeavor in the face, then in his stomach, then grabs his face and knees him. And he just gets on top of Endeavor, following his rule. He set his camera up to film. Deku's on top of Endeavor, just punching him, bloodying him up. Endeavor sends a massive flame burst, which alerts the audience attention, and he moves out the way. Deku eating the flame. Due to his ability against the dragon, he has immunity to this, and he still punches him while engulfed in the flame. All the heroes show up to see Deku inside Endeavor's flame. They all scream, "No! Izuku Hanma!" thinking that Deku's dead, but then they see that he's still punching Endeavor through the flame. They're all amazed by Deku's will, thinking he's enduring the pain. And they see the camera filming it, so they say that's clear evidence of what's happened. All Might already has faith that Deku is innocent in here, and he jumps up. Endeavor, with his broken nose, his busted teeth. His flames turn blue, and he shoots them at Deku. Deku feels the burn this time, but it's just a bit hotter than the dragon's flame, and his body quickly adapts. That's when he feels it. The flames rush through his skin. Looks like he's got a flame quirk. He wondered why he didn't get this with the dragon. And he says, I see. He remembers. Quirks are DNA. It has to be someone else's quirk to affect mine. And Deku breaks the flame, now using his own to control it. And he rushes through, covering his hand in the flame. He punches Endeavor hard, sending him flying through the arena, unconscious on the ground. After reviewing the tape, they all apologise to Deku. And he says, it's fine. And then the fight finally begins. I'm going to make this Whatif a bit longer, guys. And as such, he goes up to the arena. Shoto says, after working with you in the second event, I can recognise your strength and you have my respect, but I have to beat you. That's when the clip of Deku beating up Endeavor played on the big screen. Seeing this, Todoroki has the biggest smile on his face ever. And he says, actually, Deku, no, Izuku. After this, let's be friends. Deku agrees. Now this is his about 5th close friend that he's made. As Todoroki and Bakugo were the only ones who weren't questioning him about his quirk. And the fight begins. Todoroki sends his flames towards Deku. Deku not running to... Well, due to everyone already knowing that Deku can eat flames. And actually... 1 second, guys, I'm getting a call. I'm back. Sorry, guys, I didn't explain. After seeing that his dad got beaten by Deku, he feels it's completely fair to use his flames now. Not out of acceptance yet. Out of pure retaliation. And Deku screams, your flames are not as strong as they should be. Your flames are meant to be stronger than your father's, yet they're way colder than his. Hearing this, Todoroki says, well, what do you expect? Deku screams at him, I said the same thing to you I'll say the same thing to you that I said to your father. You are not your father! That quirk is yours. Can your father use ice? No, he can't. Are your flames meant to be hotter than your dad? I hope so. Are you someone who would attack a student just out of pure rage, out of jealousy? No, you're not. You're Shoto Todoroki. You are going to be one of the next greatest heroes. If you want to be, it's up to you. And most importantly, you are better than your old man. Hearing this, Todoroki's flames explode into a blue flame. He trucks at Deku. Deku dodges and it catches his arm. His arm is burnt up. Them flames are 10 times, no, 20 times. How hot are they? They are... Oh, Deku doesn't need... They actually burnt him. They're way hotter than Endeavor's. And he yells, about time. Of course, his burns heal. And he rushes at Todoroki. Todoroki creates some massive ice spikes. And he says, I heard you're good at dodging. Let's see how you dodge these. He keeps hurling endless ice spikes at Deku. And Deku, if you've read the manga Baki vs Pickle, how he can dodge nearly anything. He's easily dodging it. Everyone is amazed at the grace that Deku's dodging, even Todoroki. And it goes from standing on the spot dodging to Deku's rushing towards Todoroki dodging. And he finally lands in front of him and boots Todoroki in the stomach. He used his ice to block it, but Deku's force was greater than the ice's protection. And he hits Todoroki's chest, sending him flying backwards. Todoroki activates his flame and ice at the same time, chucking him. Deku eats the flames. His entire body's burned. Everyone in this is in sheer shock, disgust, until Deku heals, and the flames start doing less and less damage until they do no damage at all. This catches Todoroki off guard, and he yells at him. The secret about my quirk isn't insane strength. It's my adaptability. No matter who I face, I get stronger. And he's diving down towards Todoroki, and he yells, let's end this in one punch. Todoroki, using his blue flames, his orange ice, charges up a powerful punch, flying towards Deku. Deku uses blue flames, black lightning into one punch, and they explode. Cement and Midnight tried to block it, but it was no use. They easily broke through the cement, and the explosion that ensues, they just had to protect the audience at this rate. They fly backwards. Todoroki lays there with a broken arm, unconscious, covered in burns. Deku flies back, landing it with a broken arm, burns, and frostbite. But this quickly heals, and he sprints over to Todoroki. He can barely feel a pulse. He thinks, damn it, what can I do? He remembers how he heals, and he places his hand on Todoroki. No, nothing. What makes me heal? My DNA. He bites his finger till where blood comes out. He can hold it. He chooses to heal, remember. It happens naturally, but he can also choose it. So before it heals, he places his blood onto Todoroki's injuries, and they begin to heal. Not quick enough. He drops a bit of blood on Todoroki's mouth. Todoroki's eyes shoot open as flame explodes from him, and all his injuries begin to heal. As Deku's blood loses its system, the power-up Todoroki got also disappeared. Deku, seeing this, is intrigued. My blood makes people stronger, but it's not permanently, and it also heals. Good to know. Deku's announced the winner, and the next fight, Bakugo vs Uraraka, is announced. That goes the same, and finally, the final battle, Bakugo vs Midoriya. Oh no, Bakugo vs Izuku. Katsuki Bakugo vs Izuku Katsuki Bakugo versus Izuku Hanma. To see that, you're gonna have to tune in next time, guys. Peace out.
Bye.